Hello, my name is Dr. Coca, and in this video we're going to be looking at part C of the solubility experiment. Part C deals with the solubility of different solids in common solvents. For this we're going to need 9 test tubes that you want to label 1 through 9 with a wax pencil. And you want to place into the first of these 3 test tubes 50 milligrams or approximately 50 milligrams of fluorine. So here is test tube 1. There's roughly about 50 milligrams in there. And fluorine, notice the spelling on fluorine. So it's not spelled the same way as the element fluorine. So this is an organic compound made primarily out of carbons and hydrogens. So into test tube 1, we're going to add our first solvent, which is hexane. So we're going to take a glass pipette, squeeze the bulb, pick up approximately 1 milliliter, and squirt that into test tube 1. So if we start to shake this, we'll see that perhaps some of the solid, and this is always a little bit hard to tell whether it's partially soluble or insoluble, but a good amount of the solid, probably about half of it, has dissolved into solution, so we can probably say that this is partially soluble. With test tube 2, again, we're going to have 50 milligrams of fluorine, and into it we're going to add about 1 milliliter of methanol. So whenever you use these pipettes, whether plastic or glass, we want to be careful that we don't touch anything that is already in this container, whether it's a test tube or any other container, so that when we place it back, if we are placing it back, that we don't contaminate that bottle. If you think that you have contaminated the pipette, you want to discard it so that the next person does not use it. So when we mixed methanol with fluorine, we sort of find a similar result as hexane. It looks like some of the solid has perhaps dissolved, but not all of it. There's always a little bit that settles at the bottom. So at best, this is partially soluble, and I think that's actually what we have here. Okay, so last up with fluorine, test tube 3, again 50 milligrams. We want to add to it about 1 milliliter of water. So again, we already have seen sort of what 1 milliliter of water looks like in one of these test tubes, so we're going to sort of shoot for that. And when we add the 2, you can clearly see that the 2 are not soluble. So in fact, fluorine sort of floats at the top, so they definitely do not dissolve with each other, and they kind of form basically 2 layers. So the water kind of forms the bottom layer, and then fluorine just floats right on top of the water. They definitely do not want to dissolve, so this is completely insoluble. So with test tubes 4 through 6, we're going to be looking at benzophenone, and then with the last 3 test tubes, we're going to be looking at succinic acid. So it's hard to read there, but it's essentially the same procedure. We want to mix each of these solids with the 3 different solvents and observe the results. So the results for these last few tests will be emailed to you by your lab instructor.